Hello everyone and welcome back to Trendboost. Today we're going to be talking about the end of Dan Bilzerian and Ignite. Make sure you stay till the end so you see a sly scheme by Dan Bilzerian to avoid charges against him. The tale goes that he made his fortune playing high-stakes poker, and it's the story he's staying with paying no attention to what he's talking about the wellspring of his riches. But this story has fallen under scrutiny lately from actual poker experts who have criticism ranging from the fact that Bilzerian isn't that good of a poker player to the fact that there isn't as much money to be made in poker as he claims to have made. People who try to pursue the true wellspring of his abundance notice that Dan's father, Paul Bilzerian, spent prison time as a corporate looter for violations related to his exercises. Though he was ordered to pay a $62 million civil judgment for securities fraud, Paul Bilzerian only paid $3.7 million. As to the whereabouts of the rest of his fortune, that remains a mystery. But it's not a far leap of the imagination to assume that he utilized offshore and domestic trust to protect any remaining assets for his family. Dan Bilzerian seems to have it all initially. His Instagram paints a picture of a lifestyle that would be displayed next to the definition of Hinduism in a dictionary. He always have a bevy of bikini-clad beauties on hand, whether he's at the beach, flying in his private jet, or even lying in bed. His wealth seems massive, affording him the luxury of a life of constant jet-setting and pleasure-seeking. The sudden news in July about the fact that Ignite was $50 million in the red, a budgetary challenge that constrained the organization of Bilzerian to agree to terminate the rent on his Los Angeles house, leased by the organization, even as he was yachting around the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, shares in the company tanked, slipping from 1.44 Canadian dollars to about 36 cents as of most recent trading. Bad optics and bad business, but the lesson of the year 2020 is that there is no bottom. And so late last week, news broke that CannMart, a distribution company that moves Ignite branded products in Canada, where Bilzerian's firm is publicly traded, was ending its relationship with Ignite. The theory is overwhelming that the big name of the web and Instagram lord Dan Bilzerian is a stressed guy, as Ignite continues to flounder in bankruptcy with his company. The poker player turned internet personality could be fleeing the country as his company stares at closure in just a few weeks. Dan Bilzerian, infamously known as the King of Instagram, is an American venture capitalist with 32.5 million followers on the platform. He's also an amateur poker player and has claimed he's got honorably discharged from the US Navy SEALs after completing his training. On Instagram, most of his posts are about his extravagantly rich lifestyle. It may be tempting to believe that there are precisely zero problems with an Instagram VIP fitted with a personal luxury aircraft, a pack of alluring ladies available to him no matter what, and a few armloads of another person's cash. That is how our society trains you to think, and envying someone in this situation is even more compelling in the context of months-long coronavirus-induced isolation. But at least in the case of Dan Bilzerian, this thinking is wrong. For the CEO of Ignite, the COVID-19 summer of 2020 has presented challenges aplenty, and if the last month is any indication, autumn may be worse. Company in the worsening financial crisis. The company is in a desperate financial condition that could see its close shop in only 2 weeks, according to a YouTuber Tom Nash, who later reviewed Ignite's budgetary records for the past 6 months. Recently, Dan Bilzerian, who is Ignite's founder and CEO, has been posting pro-Armenian nationalist tweets that have left everyone wondering what's really going on with Dan and his company. Some months ago, a report by Forbes revealed that the Ignite company lost a staggering $50 million in 2019, which was seen as a lavish spending by the CEO. Ignite International brand specializes in several products, including electronic cigarettes, cannabis, and others. Dan Bilzerian has previously been convicted by a large number of drug producers, and YouTuber Philion was reportedly named the man-child of Instagram. His source of funding is the company Ignite International Limited, of which he is the CEO and founder. However, recently it's been claimed that most of his life is based on lies. Notwithstanding that, as indicated by his ongoing tweets, Dan Bilzerian has excused certain bits of gossip. In one of his tweets, he referenced Uber as an illustration to draw an equal and counter-liquidation theory about Ignite. Faced with legal problems, Dan Bilzerian goes bankrupt. Back in July, Bloomberg clarified in depth that former Ignite president Curtis Heffernan has filed a lawsuit against the company to ensure that he was dismissed for refusing to accept the wasteful spending of Dan Bilzerian. The company has not been in the best financial shape and received $1.2 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans from the US government in 2019. Furthermore, Ignite International Limited reported a loss of over $50 million last year, which has been widely attributed to the CEO's extravagant spending. Actually, the company has more liabilities than cash, and Dan Bilzerian has reportedly been funneling money from investors to finance his costly habits. In this video, you can see YouTuber Jamari talks about all of these issues, and also question Dan Bilzerian's poker skills. The 39-year-old has widely been said to be a below-average poker player, and has been criticized for his Casanova-like lifestyle, especially with younger women. Moreover, the company that he founded is basically bankrupt and at the same time owes over $40 million to investors. Presidential revisions. Basically, Dan Bilzerian is a trustfarian, but he's not an exceptionally clever one considering the outcome of his own undertakings. In addition to his trust fund, Bilzerian has been using his company Ignite International Brands as something of a personal treasure trove. There seems to be a lot of online personalities gleefully covering Bilzerian's deception. Perhaps it's because they can't stand him as a person. Perhaps it's to throw it in his followers' faces. The source of his money doesn't matter as much as the illusion that he sold. The truth doesn't matter as long as this illusion is still standing strong. And if Dan is a master at anything, it's at building this illusion for men and women. He took over from Jim McCormick in November 2019, but he has the distinction of becoming the second longest president of Ignite. He was not on the job for very long. There is some consistency, at least with John, who boasts of stops at Wingman's supermarket chain and Giant Bear's agricultural ring in addition to a year at Medman, himself a little bit of an ongoing dumpster fire. According to his LinkedIn, John's been with Ignite for more than a year, joining the company as Chief Operating Officer in August 2019. Following his stint with Medman, which he departed before the company imploded, John took over Lester Lee, whose presidential term lasted only a quarter of a year. Lee, whose past activities include the sale of something called Energy Gum, remains on the board of directors of the company. And Lee was installed as president in early June, when he replaced Curtis Heffernan. Heffernan exited on June 8th to pursue other opportunities Ignite initially claimed in a press release. That's true in a sense, but Heffernan is currently pursuing a lawsuit against Ignite for, among other things, firing him as retaliation for pushing back against what he characterized as Dan Bilzerian's wild spending on the company credit card. Touchoff struggled to report on schedule its Q2 financials, providing it just more than 2 months after the cutoff period. However, this actually brings up a great deal of issues. Note that Ignite is a customer-centered brand that doesn't seem to sell that much in general. The company reported $1.6 million in sales in 2020 in its most recent financial statements. Good for only about $600,000 in actual profit. Add that to the news that Ignite shuffled company leadership again last month. John Sheffer, who recently put in time at Cabinet's Unicorn Midman, took over as president on September 1st, Ignite's third presidency in June, and what you're left with is a picture of a failing business, sinking further into turmoil, whatever this is. They eventually delivered it in any case, so that no one will discover them. It is not surprising on their blog. I mean, what kind of public company doesn't put its own financials on its own website? That is unheard of. So they throw it in some website which is really hard to get to. Ignite company started the year with $15.1 million and in the second quarter with $5.8 million. This implies it burned more than $9 million in just 6 months, translating into $1.5 million every month. I mean, what's next for Ignite? Rather than preparing for the next prospective ex-president, 4 presidents in less than a year, it's an excellent question. Go ahead while you're here and select one of these videos on your phone and see you there.